What's up everyone, my name is Jonathan. In this video, we are going to be talking about my 1 year of sobriety. In 2022, I made the decision that I was going to take the entire year without drinking at all, and also without doing anything else that was stimulating kind of in that sort of way that would kind of get me out of my head. I know that there are so many different opinions about, weed and CBD and all that different stuff, but I decided that I was going to completely swear off all of that and be completely sober for an entire year. Now, this was really challenging for me, and before I get into how it was challenging, why it was challenging, kind of some of the process that happened, I just want to remind you, if you're first time to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you're listening to this on podcast, subscribe to the podcast. This is really the only way that we grow, by word of mouth, and so I would love if you shared this with someone who you think might find it valuable. All right, so the first piece that was really surprising to me for being completely sober was it was actually fairly easy to start my journey with sobriety. And the reason for this was I tied it to a very short-term goal. So at the beginning of the year, I decided that I wanted to do a workout program called 75 Hard. 75 Hard is a very challenging workout program that I felt would really sharpen my kind of awareness, my time usage, would make me more disciplined as a person. And there was a number of reasons why, even outside of the physical component of 75 Hard, that I wanted to do this. The rules of 75 Hard are as follows. So you can't have any alcohol, you need to go on a diet, you need to have 2 45-minute workouts per day, you have to drink 1 gallon of water, you have to read 10 pages in a book per day, and you also have to take a progress photo every single day. Now, you don't have to post the progress photo or anything like that, but you do need to be taking it every single day. And I can't tell you the number of times that I actually ended up doing these workouts between like 11 and 12 at night, and like drinking water as I walked. And for any of those of you who have done 75 Hard, sound off in the comments. I want to hear about it. It was a really revolutionary and transformative program for me to do in my life. It was after that, it was after 75 Hard, as I was coming down to the final week or so, that I really felt like I was gaining momentum. And at that point, that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna go for a full year, no alcohol. I'm gonna stop 75 Hard. So I didn't do the water, the gallon of water, or the 2 45-minute workouts, but I did keep the sobriety portion. And I wanted to kind of document the process, understand the difference that it made in my life, in my relationships, in my body, how I felt about my health, and then also my mental state, how I felt mentally, how I felt on a consistent basis as I was facing the different challenges that are in each of our businesses. And if you're anything like me, you know that business is absolutely crazy. Regardless of the type of business you run in this industry, there are constant problems, there are constant challenges. And in the past, I had masked a lot of this emotional response I had with alcohol. I was kind of using alcohol as a way to deaden my emotions and reduce my emotional responses to things. And my theory on that was that it actually would help me deal with things a bit more. And so that's one of the things that I really found uniquely challenging about this year-long period of time where I wasn't drinking, was I had to get used to dealing with things at my full mental capacity. I had to get used to being patient instead of just drinking a little bit, right? I had to get used to really dealing with the full pain or the full excitement with the different ups and downs that happen in the business. And that was, I think, especially tough during the 75 Hard period, because during this time I was also layering all these other responsibilities that I had on, all the 75 Hard stuff, combined with all of the other business stuff. And at that time we were going through a bunch of different business changes. We were hiring people, we were making these changes in our business, and it just felt like, oh my gosh, this feels impossible at times. And I can't say that every single time I felt like I could do it, but I can tell you that I decided that I would never quit. I wouldn't quit. I would go through the 75 days. So I saw that was happening, but I did notice right away some physical changes. Now, previously, right before I had started 75 Hard, I weighed just about 200 pounds. In fact, I got on the scale 12/31 of 2020, and I looked at the scale and I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, 2021. Looked at the scale in 2021, and I was just about 200 pounds. I weighed like 199 and change. So I was right there. I never quite saw 200 on the scale, but I was like, a couple millimeters away. And so when I did that, I was like, gosh, that is the heaviest that I've ever weighed. I don't want to weigh that. I want to, lose 15 or maybe even 20 pounds. Well, what ended up happening through the 75-day period was, with all the water, with not drinking anything as part of my diet, I also was cut down substantially on sugar. I ate higher protein. I started supplementing, and then I also, and not like artificial supplements, just like vitamin C and stuff like that. But I also chose to not drink any carbonation. And this was really tough for me too, because I love my energy drinks. And so not drinking energy drinks and then also not drinking alcohol really forced me to be more intentional about my days. I couldn't just pound a Red Bull to kind of, wake back up. And then I also wasn't, kind of medicating with alcohol. And so and kind of put my body into a different state. So that didn't happen until, probably a month after I had started. So I didn't see the results right away, but I was really committed to the process and kind of putting in that work every single day. And I felt better for sure. It was a little bit rough. Actually, the beginning of 75 Hard, I got COVID. So I can't taste anything. I'm feeling really crappy. It hit me really hard, heavy body aches and all sorts of different stuff like that. Of course, we have 4 kids at the time. We just had our baby. And that was a really, really tough time. There was a lot of pressure on me in the business and all these things kind of felt like they were closing in, but it built in me the mental and emotional toughness and really the physical toughness to push through. And I think it's what really was a game changer in exploding our business to really doubling, almost tripling our revenue that we did. And that was just such a credible thing. We hit 1.5 million in 2022, and I just couldn't be prouder of the team and just kind of the way that we grew the business. And I attribute a lot of that to not drinking. As I went through 75 Hard, I was done with 75 Hard. I still wasn't drinking. I still wasn't doing a lot of carbonation. I noticed that I kind of built up this muscle to not even notice it. And I think that was one of the really surprising things for me. I thought for sure that I would miss alcohol. The other concern that I had and the other kind of surprise that I had was during networking meetings, mixers, things like that, where I was in public and a piece of the pie or a piece of the puzzle and the dynamic there was alcohol. I was really concerned that I was going to feel awkward because in the past I had used alcohol to kind of be a crutch, I think, and you kind of hang on to your drink really tightly when you're in those networking meetings. And I just switched. I switched to water, and as the year went on, I started finding that easier and easier, where I wouldn't even think about it, and I didn't have that craving, and I didn't have that desire. So I think one of the coolest things was at that beginning period of time when I started 75 Hard, and I was really struggling with I don't know if I can do this. That was the hardest point. You can do this. If you're considering something like sobriety or any big change in your life that's going to require discipline, you will need to do something that's very uncomfortable, but it's going to be the hardest in the very beginning. And if you get over that beginning hump, you have the strength, the courage, the discipline to carry it the rest of the way. So I just want to encourage you. So mental clarity for me was a big issue. I would often wake up in the morning and feel a little groggy. Maybe I would be hungover if I drank too much the night before. And for me, this was a challenge in my life and a big problem in my life because we were just about to have our 5th baby. The business was exploding. There was all these needs that I had to attend to. And so I needed to be able to get up in the morning and knock things out of the park. And so for me, not drinking and the mental clarity and focus that came as a result of not drinking was what allowed me to really start providing more attention to these YouTube videos. I actually went through a period of time where I woke up at 3 a.m., got here to this office and started filming because I knew that that was the only other time that I would be able to film to be able to get these videos on the channel and really start making a difference and start getting a bigger presence. And I think, of course, with the help of so many of you who shared our message and shared our show, that was something really, really big and a really incredible catalyst that got us over 1,000 subscribers, right? And kind of started that upward trajectory that we now have. And so I'm so thankful for that. The morning time and the evening time are those boomerang times. So boomerang times for me are times of the day that actually prepare you and kind of like slingshot you towards something in the future. So for example, if you think about a boomerang, you throw it and then it circles back around and it comes back around to you, right? And so that and not drinking there was a direct corollary to those boomerang times because I was able to have better, higher quality boomerang times, which led to higher quality days. And those days just stacked right on top of each other and created a really incredible result. So in conclusion to this video, I just want to encourage you, if you're thinking about doing something like this, maybe even you had a goal of not drinking in 2022 and you set the goal for yourself and then maybe you messed up on the goal, right? You don't have to quit and give up on it and try again next year. Every single day is day one. And if you treat your life like that, if you treat your life with that level of discipline, with that level of persistence, with that level of focus and commitment and intention, I promise you that whatever big, crazy goal you have for yourself, you'll be able to accomplish it because you'll be putting in those daily bits of effort. And it doesn't feel like much, and it almost feels hopeless because you're like, how can one video I make, or how can one action I take, or one workout, or one walk even, right? How can that relate to everything else? But if you just focus on the one walk, the one day, the one video, the one podcast, whatever it is, if you can just focus on that and do a great job doing that, and then just focus on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, it'll ladder up and it will create this huge cake, and you'll look back on the year or look back on the quarter and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. So I want to encourage you. Thank you so much for watching this show and this channel. Share it with someone who you think it would provide value to, and consider subscribing if you're not already. All right, I'm so stoked for you to hear this, for you to watch this, and we'll see you all in the next video.